So today we're going to talk about things that can sabotage your muscular gains. And no, it's not nutrition, it's not reps and sets, and it's not recovery. And the great news is that you're in total control of these variables that can lead to sabotaging what you're working so hard to get. And what if I told you that the biggest thing holding you back isn't your physical performance? Stick around and I'll uncover some of the mental challenges that go towards sabotaging your muscular gains. So your habits could be really getting in between you and your gains, and perhaps you don't even know about it. Sometimes people don't give these things any thought. They become so part of what you do on a day-to-day basis, often on autopilot, that you never hang around and think, oh, hang on a second, if I did this differently, then I might get some different results. And that's exactly what we'll touch on throughout today. So there are lots of habits, lots of things, lots of intricacies. But today we'll just focus on a couple of the main things that I think are right up there in terms of priority levels that you should focus on. Now, one of the first and foremost things are getting quite comfortable with the way that you're training, getting into that comfort zone. I mean, it's worked for so long, you've progressed, you can see it, others have pointed it out, so it'll continue to work, right? So do your thing, go to the gym and go through this routine that you've been going through for quite some time and that you can do really well. You'd probably say you're a bit of a master of that routine because you just nail it every time, right? And you feel sore and you're progressing, you're getting comments, your clothes are feeling a certain way and you think everything's hunky-dory. And that comfort zone that you're in and you're comfortable in is working just fine for you. And just to suggest some of the small adjustments that you can be made and what kind of a difference they can make, I think you might be surprised. So those weights are generally heavy enough, aren't they? You do your workout and you're always pretty exhausted and you think, oh man, those weights don't get any lighter. That's a joke I hear all the time around the gym, to which everyone laughs, so I assume you're chuckling away to yourself as well. But they never get any lighter. They're always hard, it's always tough, it's always a grind to get through that workout. So if that's the case, it must be doing you some good, right? So why change? Why not just stick with those weights and continue to progress? But I would encourage you to think back to the last time you did something a little bit different. Maybe it was forced upon you, maybe you did some DIY at home and you went through a movement that you don't normally go through and you're like, geez, man, and that hurts the next day or the same day. Or maybe you decided to do a workout with a friend and they did X, Y, and Z differently and it caught you by surprise. Either way, you will recall that a small change makes an incredible difference. And we're just talking about a little tweak. That's all it is. Rest, position, different type of exercise maybe. These little tiny changes go a long way. And the body reacts and adapts so remarkably well that you'll feel it the next day, just to let you know that this particular body part hasn't been worked out like that before, ever or in a while. So therefore, you're feeling the pain, that's a great thing, and then you'll adapt and adjust moving forward. Pardon the interruption, just a quick note is that if you prefer content that's a little bit more shorter, concise, more well structured, fewer rambles, fewer tangents, fewer analogies, then there's a link in the description below to another video of mine talking about this subject, but in that manner. You're likely to get less context, but it's more straightforward and to the point, just to let you know. I think it's quite important to address a tweak versus a change. This is some important terminology that lets people get a bit twisted or tangled otherwise if it's not clear. And people start talking about things in the gym that you just don't know what they're talking about and you just smile and nod and become a bit confused, a bit distant, and away you go and do your own thing. But a change or a tweak are two different things. A tweak is a small change, potentially. It's a small change to what you're doing, and it doesn't involve a departure from familiarity. You're still doing the same exercise, but the small tweak is that you're resting for 30 seconds less or more than what you were before. or your grip is going to be a little bit different on this exercise, or your range of motion is going to be just a little bit more than what it was before, or the speed that you're working out at is going to have a different tempo to it. Those kinds of things keep your mind in the game because it's not a departure unless you're looking for a departure from what you're currently doing. So there's no great deal of stress involved, no unfamiliarity involved. Whereas a change is a bit of an overhaul. It's a completely different exercise. Maybe you're doing the exercises in a completely different order, or maybe you're doing them on a completely different day. And all these things involve planning and preparation and a little bit of stress that's involved, both mentally and then on the body once you go through it. And then how do you handle that stress? How do you manage that the best way in order to stay consistent and get the best out of your workout? So I consider those two things to be two very different buckets that you can employ when you're working out and what routine that you're going through. And I might also just add that with change comes deeper reasoning. Like if you're going to change something just because you really just want to do something different and you're a little bit sick and tired of the same thing, then that's reason enough. That's fine. Away you go. But if you're just changing because someone said, oh, I've seen you doing the same thing for ages now, or you're getting a bit of a plateau that you can't get past, I believe that's a French word, then that would be a reason to think about it a bit more. Like why do I actually want to change what I'm doing, and what are the benefits of it when it's such a dramatic change? As a tweak, you might just think, well, I'll do this for a week or two and I'll see how it feels, see if I like it. And it's not really a big deal. It's just a bit of fun sometimes, a bit of variance that you might enjoy, something that you would do with somebody else when you're both doing something a little bit different. But if you're having a complete change that's going to last for a wee while, it's part of a routine, got to be some deeper thinking inside of that. And that in itself can sabotage your results if you don't think about that and you don't give it some proper attention and apply some knowledge and science to the reasoning behind why you're doing it. Because the trick is with this whole routine thing and the habits that you're in, and to stop you from sabotaging your results, is to always give yourself multiple pathways to achieve a result. Because if you are just saying, right, my progress now is dependent on going to the gym and working out as hard as I possibly can. If I don't get to failure, and if I don't get X number of reps in, and the weight isn't as heavy as it can possibly be, then I'm not going to progress, or you tend not to see progression. Then that's a bit of a worry, because you shouldn't rely on just one pathway of grind and grit and intensity and determination, because your body is waiting in the wings, ready to respond to a small tweak or change. You don't need to have that one pathway to rely on. Create multiple pathways, make use of them. They don't look that different from each other, but they make a massive difference to your progress. You may also just be simply sticking to what you know. Someone showed you some time ago how to do a whole bunch of exercises, and now you've become familiar with it. And then someone says to you, have you done this exercise? And you think, what the hell is that? And they do it, and you try it out, and it feels so strange and weird, and you think, oh, nah, I can't do this. And so you stick to what you're doing because you don't know any better. Try and get out of that bubble by talking to people and try new things out. Speak to some fitness professionals and hopefully they'll put you down the right lines. It's also worth noting that every gym routine is suitable for someone at some point, unless it involves standing on your head while you're doing a leg press or whatever, and that's a bit ridiculous. But most things have a time and a place. And it might be for you now, or it might not be. It might have been suitable for you way back when, but it's not now. It might be suitable for you going forward, but you've got to work towards that first. So always remember that time and a place, what works best for you. On the same token, it's important to remember that this is a slow process over time. I'll say it again. This is a slow process. If you see what I did there, over time, it doesn't happen straight away. So you've got to get into the mindset of understanding that, and that you've got to give the body the chance to adapt. So if you do a new exercise today, don't change for the sake of change tomorrow or next week or whatever. Give yourself the time. You've got to have mechanisms by which you can make a decision or evaluate your progress. So you've got to have the data to do that. You've got to have that internal feedback and perhaps what you feel in front of the mirror or what people say to you if you have that relationship whereby you can ask and they'll give you an honest answer. Those are the kind of things that help determine when a change is needed, not change for the sake of change. Because if you do a different thing every week, how will you know if you're progressing, getting stronger, getting bigger, losing weight, losing body fat, whatever it might be, if you don't give yourself the chance to have something to compare it to? So like 4 weeks ago, I was lifting this particular weight, and now I'm lifting a heavier weight. Or I did 5 reps back then, I'm doing 8 now, and 5 were as hard as what 8 are today. And you know that you're getting bigger and stronger. Those measurements won't occur if you are changing on too much of a frequent basis. I can compare that whole thing to a good chicken breast. You put it on the grill, on the barbecue, whatever, and you've got to leave it on until it cooks. If you take it off too soon, it's a bit pink in the middle, and that's when, things get a bit out of hand, let's say. So you want to make sure that your chicken breast is thoroughly cooked before you look at it and you go, yes, and you taste it and you go, oh yeah, that's a good chicken breast. Same with an exercise. If you just do it for a wee while, then it's still pink in the middle, and you can't tell if it's a good exercise for you or if it's doing what you want it to do, if it's providing the stimulus that exercises should provide. So give the exercise a bit of time on the grill. Love that phrase, might copyright that. I don't think anyone's used that one before. I certainly haven't heard of it. If you have, put it in the comments below. Or give me a like, or subscribe for that matter. I should get that part out of the way actually in a second. But the bottom line is, give yourself time to marinate like a good chicken breast. And let that time pass, and then let your results show before you start making changes all over the place. So my name is Simon, this is the Deep South Experiment podcast, and we talk about fat loss, muscle building, and the all-important mindset. More information about me and the podcast is in the description below. But if you like this content and you want to show a bit of support for the channel, really appreciate it if you could, like, subscribe, drop a comment below. I never feel good saying this. It's always awkward. I don't like asking for things off people, but happy to give you information. So if you want to show any support, then you know what to do. So thank you very much in advance, I think. Another factor is muscle imbalance. See this all the time. This is a hard one to get around because it takes a bit of planning and preparation and execution. But I just see a lot of people focusing on certain muscles like the chest, but then the opposite muscle like the back, they don't pay that much attention to. Or biceps and triceps and hamstrings and quads, the opposing muscles. You want to develop all muscles in order to achieve a balance. It helps your posture, it helps your performance, and it gets rid of a whole bunch of problems down the line. Tweaks, impingements, pulls, tears, whatever. So to avoid all of that, get out of the habit of just doing that one particular muscle group that you favor, or gives you that good feeling, gives you that pump, makes you feel like, yeah, You want to keep feeling like, yeah, and stuff, but make sure that you're also giving attention to the other muscles as well. They're called antagonistic muscle groups. So make sure that you look after them. So I guess it comes as no surprise following what I just said, that longevity is key in the gym, and doing a well-rounded gym routine, not looking after just your favorite muscles. A well-rounded routine really helps towards that longevity, keeps you healthy, keeps you strong all throughout. But you've got to make sure that You look after the body as a whole rather than a bit of favoritism. You might be going to the beach next month and you want to get that bicep right, but your triceps also need a bit of attention too. In fact, an interesting point is that when you look at an arm and what gives it its size, it's not the bicep, it's the tricep that actually provides that aesthetic look. Love that word. So the same as with other muscles too, with the back and the chest, is that you have favoritism, but the other muscle contributes to what your goals may well be as well. And one great thing to do to help make sure that you're hitting all these different muscle groups rather, is compound exercises. Compound exercises are exercises that involve multiple joints, not just one muscle group. So for example, a squat or a deadlift, those are the things that involve multiple muscles all the way down from your legs to your core to your back, your arms, your shoulders, etc. Great exercises to do if you're ever worried about am I hitting all my muscle groups? Then if you throw in a few compound exercises, you'll soon know about it because they're bloody exhausting to do. You'll do it and you probably think, oh, bugger that other muscle group that I love so much. I'm exhausted and that's me done for the day. If you ever get to that stage and you know the compound exercises have served that purpose, which is a big thumbs up from me. And you can give it a thumbs up too by just clicking on that icon just there. I'll wait if you like. And if you are struggling to look after those other muscle groups, do them at the start of a workout. Do your least favorite exercises first when you're fresh, get them out of the way. And then when you're a little bit buggered at the end of the workout or part of the way through or whatever it might be, and now it's time to do those, then great, it's a good time. It's like the main event of the evening for all the wrestling fans out there. You know, you're waiting for your main event, but then the undercard has got to come first. Those are the crappy muscle groups. They hurt just as much. They're a little bit more annoying to watch or to do, but they're there and it's going to happen. Then what you're really in the gym for happens, and that's a great thing. And then you really nail those. So then you walk out of the gym going, actually, I've done everything I needed to do. I've taken care of the muscles that I don't really care about too much. So therefore I've had a great workout. And if you do that over time, then before you know it, you've got a well-rounded routine and it will probably reflect on how you're feeling and how you're looking and performing. So then the last point, and it's an absolute bugbear of mine, probably because of the generation that I grew up in or whatever, but just leave your cell phone alone when you're in the gym. Put it down. Whatever's on there is still going to be there in an hour's time, and it might even be more interesting in an hour's time. But just don't use it when you're in the gym. Focus on the task at hand, pay attention, be present, be focused, be available for what you're doing, and then later on, tune out of all of that, your job is done, then pick up your cell phone and do whatever it is that you do on it. No doubt open several apps and scroll through them. And just remember, this whole gym thing is uncomfortable. And getting away from it with Facebook or YouTube or whatever platform that you look at, X, then you know that's all tries to take away from that. Have your mindset to be here to feel the grind, to feel uncomfortable, just because in an hour's time or whatever time frame, you can forget it all. And that's when you can then just chill out and relax. It's no different to going to work. You know, you go to work and you can't just be on your cell phone all the time, scrolling through social media or whatever. You've got to do your job and be productive, I assume. Whereas treat the workout to be the same thing. You're going in there just an hour of your time, concentrate, focus, deliver, and then move on and do whatever it is that you're going to do. So there you have it. 3 points that all contribute towards either sabotaging what you're doing or helping you improve and move forward and progress. It's up to you. So take action now. Thanks for joining me. Catch you later.